Hello and welcome to Only a Podcast. Two blokes upside down and many miles from home talk about popular culture and unpopular culture too. Books, music, films, the news, what we had for dinner last night, everything is fair game. We've no idea what we're doing or why, but we're going to do it.
Kia ora koutou. Hello everyone. Welcome to episode 25 of Only a Podcast. Say hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain.
How you doing? You all right?
Well, it's all good. Yeah, all good.
Good. Before we go any further, I've got a little surprise for you.
Oh.
Just picking my guitar up. So give me a second. Just got to move the mic. Yeah, and if you recognise that,
yeah,
I stuffed it up a little bit. Only learnt it about half an hour ago. That song's called "Birthday" by the Beatles.
Yeah,
and it's because it's our birthday. It's 1 year since our first episode. So happy birthday, Captain!
Yeah, amazing.
Hope you ate cake.
I
always do. I always do because it's someone's birthday somewhere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got to be.
So always have cake. Yeah, it was October the 3rd last year that we released our first episode. So I think we started talking about it in July, fannying around, but we eventually got an episode recorded, and I haven't listened back to it. I should listen back to it. I think I think we're a bit better at this now than we were then.
Yeah, see what we were like. God, I don't know. I can't even remember.
I think we were a bit nervous then, but I don't think we're too bothered anymore. I think our sound quality has improved as well since then.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so that's good. Hopefully the punters agree that. Well, those that have stuck with us.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, one of our regular contributors and member of the fan base, Craig, he shares his birthday with the podcast. So happy birthday to you, Craig.
Good on you.
Thanks for all your input over the year. It's been great. Keep it coming.
Yeah. He also shares. We also share the release date of "Love Me Do," which was released on October the 3rd, 1962.
Ah, you told me that the other day and I didn't make the connection, but now you've said that. 60
flipping years ago.
Yeah.
There you go. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's all right. And we share a birthday with, amongst many others, Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Danny O'Donoghue, off of the script. Don't really know who he is. That's one for the young people. Lena Headey. Fans of Game of Thrones will know the lovely Lena. And Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course. And there's probably more. You got any more, Captain, that we might be sharing birthdays with? I don't know if you looked into
not at the moment. But
yeah. But it's good you go into these who born on this day websites. There's hundreds and hundreds of so I could have gone on and on with that, but there's just a few. So yeah, we're in fairly good company. So what have you been up to?
What have I been up to? We've been watching. I have been reading, but I don't think I'll do that this episode. I've been dipping into and eventually finishing a series on Disney Plus called Light and Magic. Strangely enough, about Industrial Light and Magic, the company, from the first clip to current day. It's basically invented in the early production days of Star Wars. The first Star Wars, the 1st.
Yep.
When it was, how on earth are we going to do this stuff? Mr. Lucas had lots of storyboards, and a lot of people looked around, scratched their heads, and went, "Oh my God, what are we going to do now?" And it's an intriguing thing to see the development of special effects that these guys have done, ranging from the very early sort of mechanical stuff to the hideously complicated CGI-based things. And good to see at the times when things changed and various departments became redundant due to technology increase or your different way of doing things, and you think, oh my God, we're going to have to leave all these guys who've made models behind.
Yeah.
But there's still a place for making models, but when Lucas started to have proper budgets to do his films, it's like, well, we can do anything now. We can do anything we want with all these fantastic computers that cost a fortune. So it was good to see that and the people involved. And it's still there on Disney Plus. And if you're at all nerdy or science fiction-y, you've probably watched it already. But I took a great deal out of it. It's really good to see that stuff and how films are made. Yeah. Good.
So I've Culture Catchup. I've got a few things. You just reminded me when you talked about books. Yeah, I've since our last episode, I did get through another one of the P.G. Wodehouse. It was Right Ho Jeeves. Spoiler alert: Bertie and his friends get into a spot of bother, and Jeeves sorts it out for them.
Eternal plotline,
brilliant, and it's great. So I got through one of them. So that's one more off my list gone. I started a new book just yesterday. Again, based on a recommendation of yours from ages ago, Elmore Leonard. Rum Punch. So I'd read The Switch, and then the kind of follow up to that, although it was written some years later, is Rum Punch, which is the book that went on to become the movie Jackie Brown, as you know. So I'm only about 5 pages into that at the moment, but it's that's on my bedside table.
The master of dialogue, basically, describing a scene without describing it. Basically by what the characters are saying. None better in my view. And a good thing to look for on the internet, folks, is Elmore Leonard's 10 Rules of Writing. Really good. Good.
We'll put a link up for that.
I won't put any spoilers in, but it's excellent stuff. Never open a book with the weather. That's one of them.
Speaking of which, it's been snowing here today.
It's a dark and stormy night. Don't ever start a book with that.
Right.
There are, the 9 others are pretty cool as well. It's all good stuff. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I've done a bit of music, bit of telly, bit of this and that as well. So I've been playing an album quite a lot the last couple of weeks, which isn't really something. This artist isn't really the sort of thing I'll be listening to, but it's Julian Lennon. I don't know if you've listened to his new album, have you?
No, not yet.
And I've never listened to any of his music before, really. I mean, he had a few big hit singles, didn't he, back in the day? But I'd seen or heard a few interviews with him. He was on Rock on Tours and Soda Jerker and all those places, and talking about this new album. It's called Jude. I'm sure most of you will get the connection there. And it's kind of a introspective, retrospective kind of thing, out of lockdown and being alone in lockdown and digging up old tapes and old demos and old songs and working them up into an album. It's really good. I just, when you want to talk about music and you say, if you like this, you'll like this, but I can't really think of. It reminds me of, it's kind of real grown up sort of real high quality songs. With some of them have got a bit of an edge. Some of them are piano ballads. Kind of reminds me a bit of that that latest Tears for Fears album. Okay. Sort of real grown-up pop music. Yeah. And a few of the tracks on there, if pop music was still a thing, I think there's a few hit singles on there, really, in another life. But give it a listen; it's quite good.
Sure.
Jude. Yeah.
I've been looking online for music stuff, but I basically after suffering. No, that's the wrong word. Okay, watching pretty much of the first Taylor Hawkins tribute gig with the Foo Fighters and many special guests.
Oh dear.
A lot of clips from the LA version, where Taylor Hawkins tribute number 2, America.
Yeah, because they only did 6 hours for the first one, didn't they? So
I know you would think. Some of it was the same, I have to say. Fair enough. You want your fans to commune with you and all that kind of thing. So it was in the Forum in LA, so not quite as big. I don't think, folks.
Right.
I don't know whether the Forum is that. It's big-ish, but I don't think it's quite as big as Wembley. Anywho, to save you looking through the whole thing, the 2 best bits were Miley Cyrus singing with Joe Elliott and Phil Collen of
Def Leppard.
Of Def Leppard, indeed. They did a couple of songs, and they did Photograph. And I guess some people may scoff at the fact that Miley Cyrus is up there doing these songs, but she gave it loads and was almost better than Joe, I have to say. So that's one bit.
Yeah.
And the other bit I enjoyed was seeing the lead guitarist of the Cars, Elliot Easton.
Yep. Who
is possibly one of those, you could say. It's one of the most tasteful guitarists going. Never a solo, there's never a superfluous note in any of his solos. And there's always a bit in the solo where you go, oh my God, how did he do that?
Yeah.
There's just a little bit at the end or he throws in a bit of finger wrangling that you just think, oh my God, amazing. And they did just what I needed at the tribute concert. And sure enough, his guitar wrangling is at once supreme, but very understated. He's one of those. I'd really enjoyed that.
He's one of those guitar players you read about in guitar magazines. Like Steve Lukather and people like that you don't really know them, but one of those revered guitarists.
Yeah, they're just secretly envious of.
Yeah, well, I mean, Steve Lukather, he was, most famously known as a guitarist in Toto.
Yeah.
And, a lot of, again, in guitar magazines, it was the greatest guitar solo of all time. And often as not, it's Rosanna by Toto that gets voted. But he appeared on all kinds of records. He was the LA session player, wasn't he? Yeah. He was on a lot of Michael Jackson stuff and all that. And apparently his autobiography is a riot. So it's a very good read. You talked about Miley Cyrus, and there's a clip out there. I think it was a TV show or something. I don't think it was a live concert. But anyway, there's her singing with Metallica.
Yeah.
You've seen that? Is it Nothing Else Matters? I think they do.
Yeah.
She absolutely nails that. Yeah, she's got a voice for that, hasn't she?
Yes. I think our friend Justin Hawkins had that on his YouTube channel. And,
that's right. He did too. Yeah.
I complimented it also. Yeah. No, she's fine. Ship her in.
It is what it is. Fact about Joe Elliott. He was the first singer to perform with Queen after Freddie Mercury died. There you go. There's a trivia fact for you.
There you go.
At that tribute concert, he was the first one on. Anyway, useless information there. I've got a... I don't think you're a fan, but I'm a lifelong, huge fan of Alan Partridge. Are you?
No.
You're not, are you? Not at all.
Can't be done.
No, you get it or you don't, I suppose. But he keeps churning out the material, and he's just released about a week ago a series of podcasts. Well, they're not really podcasts. It's an audio book that you buy from Audible, but they're presented in the form of a podcast. It's a podcast that you pay for, basically. And it's all good stuff. Alan's life keeps evolving, and fans of Partridge will love it. I can't say much more than that, really.
I see Coogan is coming up. Should we talk about this? Yeah, I'm going to talk about it.
Go on, then. Do it.
Coogan is coming up to play Jimmy Savile.
Ah, yes.
In a future coming docudrama or whatever you want to call it. But is it the kind of thing that we can admire the craft, but do we really want to see it? There's been a lot of discussion about the Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix at the moment. It's like we're just re-exposing the victims to all this kind of terrible stuff.
It's all a bit triggering, isn't it?
And it may be that this is just gone a bit too far past that as well.
Yeah, maybe. There was a documentary about Savile, wasn't there, on Netflix? I didn't watch it. My wife watched it.
I did see that. I did watch it. I did. I kind of wished I hadn't, in a way.
Yeah.
As with also there's a book by a great author called Gordon Byrne about Rose and Fred West. Instantaneously one of the most intriguing books I've ever read, and one of the most revolting. Do you give it 5 stars or 1 or none?
Yeah.
Basically on Goodreads.
Yeah.
It's kind of something I'm glad I read, but I've also wished I hadn't, simultaneously. It's an impossible stance to take.
Interesting. I tried to avoid stuff like that. I don't want to think about it. I remember, and it started from those two young lads that killed that very young lad in Liverpool years ago. That thing. Yeah, it was that. I saw a little bit of what happened, and it's like, oh, I don't want to hear any more, and I've never heard any more about it. And now I don't need the details. I'm a bit squeamish with that. I don't need to know that sort of stuff.
But Netflix seems to be the one. Are we cashing in, whatever. But it's a problematic thing, really. I mean, I'm that said, when it comes to true crime podcasts and things like that, it can always be quite intriguing. But once it gets past a certain level of subject matter,
it's different.
You don't want to go there.
Yeah. Anyway, keep it light, Captain. Maybe
cut that bit out.
Yeah. No, it's all right. It's all good. Light and shade and all that. Had a message from my good buddy Hannah in the UK.
Oh yeah.
Hello, Hannah, if you're listening. She said she's just finished watching season 2 of The Capture. I said, I didn't know there was a season 2 of The Capture. Oh. Now, I've got a feeling I talked about season 1 of The Capture. Right way back at the start of this podcast. I might have mentioned it, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw it. It was on over here. And it was about that young man, and he got charged with the abduction and murder of a woman. And there is CCTV footage of him doing it, or abducting her at least. But he's sure that he's innocent. But he starts to believe maybe he isn't. And I don't want to give away any spoilers. But it was great. It was really good, because me and Hannah, when it was on in the UK, so it must have been 3 or 4 years ago, it was on the first series. Yeah, we were kind of both watching it, and it was great. But anyway, season 2's out now.
Yeah.
So it's on TVNZ. And it's, I guess, on BBC iPlayer. I think it was a BBC show. So The Capture.
It's about deep fake.
It's about deep fake. I didn't want to say that, but it looks like it's him on the CCTV. Yeah.
I believe for our NZ listeners, it is actually still on TVNZ on demand.
It is.
Fairly sure. So,
it is. I checked the other day, both seasons are.
Yeah, so you can go
and watch that deep fake. It's interesting stuff. I mean, I in my work, I'm into cybersecurity and all that stuff, and I've been reading a lot about how they're using deep fake now to hack into conference calls and pretending to be the chief exec. They've got the chief exec's face and the chief exec's voice, and they're hacking into these board meetings and things. Amazing. So, so The Capture. I'll be watching that soon.
Yeah. Cool. Me too.
Good. Yeah. So, did you watch the first series or not?
No.
I do. No, you like it.
I think I've marked it in my. Coincidentally, I've marked it in my my favourites, as it were, on TVNZ on demand to be watched. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's cool. What else are we digging into? I talk about catching up and all that kind of stuff. I've been catching up on. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really dived in ever to the music of a chap called Roy Harper.
Yes, Stormcock.
It is rather sunny outside. But, it's.
I had that album on CD somewhere.
Ranging from his early folk rock stuff. The list of well-known musicians that participate with Mr. Harper on his albums is probably worth, listenable for that reason alone. Dave Gilmour and Jimmy Page and various other people. He was on Led Zeppelin's label at one point, I think. Someone song. Maybe, hoping that's right. But I've dived in and continuing to listen to that. Started off with HQ, the album, which is really good. The less folk and more rock of a 70s variety. And cool stuff. And there's one of those songs which could be one for, when you pass away, you put it on the list so everybody sits around and cries. When an old cricketer leaves the crease, it's called. And it's got, I think, the Black Dyke Mills Brass Band on it. So there you go. That's really going to get him. That's going to get him going in it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. We were talking about this earlier in the week, and I did write it on my list to talk about today, but crossed it off. I didn't think I would. But The Proclaimers are coming down here. They're coming down here to do a few concerts. They're doing some. They're right around the corner to me, so I'll have to go. I think it's in March. I think they're coming.
Yeah.
And I live in a little region called Glenleith, a little suburb of Dunedin called Glenleith. And everything in Dunedin is Scottish, by the way. I've heard and seen more bagpipes and kilts since I've been here than I ever did in the UK. They have bagpipe competitions and anyway, that got me thinking of the song Sunshine on Leith, of course. And that's a song for no real reason. That will get me going, like someone's been chopping onions or my hay fever's giving me jip. That song just gets me.
We had talked about that,
Yeah, it just, I don't know what it is about it. I think it's, if you've ever seen that clip of the, is it Hibs or Hearts? Sorry, Hibs or Hearts fans singing it. I think it's, so, listeners, you got any songs out there that get you going for no apparent reason? I mean, obviously we all have ones that are dear to us, but it's just like, I've got no connection really to that song, but it just gets me. That's one, Sunshine on Leith. It's a beauty.
Yeah. The one that I always, it always comes up every now and again, like the saddest song of all time. I don't know if it's the saddest song of all time, but it is a sad song. There's one called He Didn't, and it's by a sort of collective of musicians that turned out an album called Hyacinths and Thistles, I think, and they are the Sixths. The Sixths, yeah. Right. It's run by a guy called Stephen Merritt, who also records as the Earth's Magnetic Fields.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and this the Sixths album, he got various vocalists in to do each song, and He Didn't is a Bob Mould song. Right. Bob Mould from Hooskadoo.
Yep.
And Sugar.
Yep.
And it's basically about asking someone to dance with you and spend the rest of your life with you and that kind of thing.
Right.
As we know, Bob Mould is gay, so there's an extra twist to that little tune there. And the result of the song is in the title, in that the guy he asked didn't dance with him, as it were. Oh dear. I know, and that gets you going, that does.
Yeah. So let us know, folks. Tearjerkers.
Sung in a non-Bob Mouldish voice. Bob's normally pretty raging on the stuff that he does. Yeah. He's not raging in this one.
Oh. Very nice. Yeah, let us know, folks. Any tearjerkers you've got out there, let us know. We'll put together a playlist.
Those are the ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, we could try. I've tried to do this before on Spotify and it went quite badly. You can create a playlist that anyone can contribute to, can't you? It's just an open play, which is great. But I did one and I just got people from all around the world spamming it with their latest releases. And
without anything to do with the subject.
Nothing to do with it whatsoever. So fair play to them. We could do that with this podcast. Anyway. So let us know, folks. Send them in.
Yeah. Channel surfing. Are we going channel surfing?
Channel surfing. Yeah, that's what I was about to do, but I couldn't get my words out. So
that's good.
So you mentioned last time Richard Thompson as the greatest living English guitarist.
I did mention that.
Well, that got me thinking.
Hornby line. That's a Nick Hornby line.
Yeah, that got me thinking, didn't it?
Yeah.
One of my favourite guitarists, just as a guitarist, not particularly any band, because he's more of a session player, really. And I'm going to recommend, for the channel surfing bit, I'm going to recommend his YouTube channel. If you want to see a stunning guitarist and his incredible collection of guitars that he's got. It's a guy, and you'll know who this is, I'm sure, a guy called Little Barry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Barry Cadogan is his name. And there was a band called Little Barry, and they're not in existence anymore, but he's a player for hire. He's played with them all, the Johnny Marr. I think he's playing with Liam Gallagher at the moment. And he's got a great YouTube and Instagram, Little Barry. I think it's called Little Barry Official. And he just puts up little clips of him just noodling and jamming. What an incredible guitarist. A mate of mine saw Johnny Marr with Little Barry playing, and he said he played Johnny Marr off the stage. Oh. Yeah, incredible player.
Steady on.
So that's my recommended YouTube channel and Instagram is Little Barry. If you want to hear a virtuoso guitarist, that's the one to go to.
Cool.
Yeah, what you got?
What have I got? Well, I go with one Instagram, which is London Lee 70. I don't know if you're a follower. London Lee used to have a blog in the days of blogs. He still has a blog. It's still there, and all the posts are still there, but he just doesn't do it very often, called Crying All the Way to the Chip Shop. And Brits will get the reference for that one.
Yep.
He's a Brit. He lives in the States. He used to be a graphic designer back in the day, unless I missed my guess, pre-computer, so, letter set and cutting out and pasting on and all that kind of stuff.
Proper copy and pasting,
Indeed, proper copy and pasting. And his Instagram always delights me because he sort of researches and digs into, and even goes onto eBay to steal the pictures. Shouldn't have said that. Of vintage magazines with interesting design. And it's just worth, looking at that for hours. It's amazing stuff. Things that could never have been. Well, no, that's wrong. Obviously, everything can be generated by computer, but they don't look like they've been generated by computer. They look like they've been done by a human being. Yeah, and they have. Some great things. Some great things on that. And dig back in his blog as well. It's always good stuff. Music related, mostly. Popular culture things, mostly from back in the day. So there's lots to look at from there. And the other channel surfing thing I'll just plug here is we're all well known, and I may have mentioned her before. I am known for my love of maker channels, and I'd just like to restate the maker channel of a German woman called Laura Kampf, Kampf, who makes stuff. She's hung out with Adam Savage from the Mythbusters a while, making things. And as you said to me, a lot of her things look a little bit, maybe perhaps unsafe.
Petrol-driven
health and safety.
Petrol-driven barbecues and stuff. Yeah,
I know. It's like, oh my God, she made what? But it's all very ingenious, and it's interesting. I think just to watch to see the way people's minds work in a 3-dimensional way. You think, oh my God, just cut that piece of wood in a brilliant way to make it do that particular function. It's just how things fit together. Might not have escaped mere mortals. It's like us. It's like we would have never have thought of a way to do that. Put a hinge just there to make things expand in just the right way. But it's always intriguing from that point of view. Anywho, to cut a long story short, she's also recently bought an old German house, which started out as being, oh, look at this fantastic old German house, isn't it great? But which has now turned into, look at this old German house, isn't it a wreck?
Right.
And, she'd sort of take down some bit of wall to go see what's in here now. It's they're woodwormed to death, or look, a giant ant's nest. So she's now taken on a little bit more than she expected. So it's the current storyline basically is oh my God, what do we do with this house? So less making and more
renovating
and reconstructing. It's a bit like your
man,
damn thing.
What's your man called? Your man with the chateau in France and the moustache.
Dick Strawbridge.
It's a bit like that, I guess.
It's a bit like that. But it's amazing the things they've discovered about old German houses.
Yes.
But repairing them in the vintage way also, it is a true renovation. It's not like, well, let's whack up a load of steel beams and sort this out. It's okay, well, we're going back to replace it with plugged wood stuff.
Yeah, like for like, yeah.
Yeah. So I always watch that. She does one a week, which is cool. I always tune in to watch that. So those are my 2 channel what's-its that I'm intrigued by at the moment. So anybody else are there any suggestions? We are calling this spot channel surfing for YouTube channels or Instagram channels or whatever you want to call them. So if you've got any intriguing stuff that you think that you follow on a regular basis, let us know.
Yeah, we'll give it a shout out.
And we'll give a shout out to the channel.
To the channel. And to you and to the channel, yeah. Good stuff. Right, we're nearly there. We've got a few.
We are.
Oh, I'm nearly there. Are you done? I'm done.
Pretty
Apart
much.
from some RIPs we've had this week.
Do your stuff.
So we lost Hilary Mantel. Obviously great author. So I'm told. Obviously, Wolf Hall trilogy's been on my to read list for forever. Haven't got round to it yet. I don't know if you have. Have you read them?
No. It's always there.
Yeah, it's that sort of historical drama thing, isn't it?
I would say you don't find them down the second-hand shop so much over here. You think, I'll get those Hilary Mantels the next time I'm down the charity shop.
Yeah.
And they're never there because they're so good. They're so good, people don't give them up.
It's all Da Vinci Code and 50 Shades of Grey down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Jodie Picoult.
We lost Hilary. We also lost Coolio. Again, another one of those where we get these sort of pop culture figures that passes away and suddenly everyone's a fan. And there's a thing on the TV over here in New Zealand. I've never really noticed it so much in the UK, but on breakfast TV and that, the sort of play in and play out music when someone's died is their music. So on the news that day that Coolio died, they're playing Gangster's Paradise. When they cut into an ad break or something. But they're playing the bit with the lead vocal, the chorus, which that's not him. That's someone else singing. I'm not sure who it is. And I realised they did that last year, whenever it was, when Astro from UB40 died. Yeah. They're playing all these UB40 tracks. It was like a UB40...
That he wasn't on.
And he wasn't on any of them. Because he was really only on, he sang Rat in Me Kitchen, he sang the lead on that, and he did a bit of, toasting here and there, but he was not really a lead vocalist at all for that group. But they're playing, I Can't Help Falling in Love with You or something, the dregs of UB40. But anyway, there we go. And just today, we also lost Loretta Lynn.
We did, yeah. Country music legend. Whatever you want, superlatives you want to use. Yeah. Frustrated me greatly that the album I most wanted to listen to isn't on Spotify. Vanlia Rose, which was a pretty good effort. For all my non-particular love of Jack White these days, I tend to think he's exceeded his sell-by date. That was a great collaboration. But I can't listen to it unless I go to YouTube. It'll be there somewhere, I guess. Yeah. But, Coal Miner's Daughter and all those kind of classic things.
We could do a little thing on, Queens of Country. Because I have to admit, when it comes to country music, I'd always rather listen to the women than the men, I think. I think some of them are just
interesting
fantastic.
Choice, yeah. Well, yeah.
Maybe.
I'm game.
Yeah. Well, you know more about all that stuff than I do, that's for sure. But so that's a few RIPs there. That's it from me, Captain. I've got no more to say. Should we let these people get back to their lives?
That's true. We're all up for this episode, I think. It's ideal length.
Yes. That's what she said, which takes me back to The Office, which now, before we go, I've said before, I've watched all of The Office before, except the last two seasons, but I'm watching them second time round now, and we got to the end of that, got to that point, and now we're on into the last two seasons. And actually, they're actually quite funny. They're different because your main character's gone. But I'm probably getting more laughs per episode, maybe actual laughs rather than cringy laughs. So I'm going to get to the end of The Office this time round.
I notice, and here's one thing that maybe another thing that's coming up in the future is that we briefly talked about, but not in any detail. So it will come up in future. Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest TV Programs. Ah, yes. An Office-related thing is that I saw that the US version of The Office was higher in the list than the UK version of The Office.
Doesn't surprise me. It is excellent. It's a masterpiece of TV. Yeah. You really should watch it. It's very, very good. I mean, we had to do a long drive the weekend. I did 600k in a day. I went to Wanaka and back in a day. Good. So needed something to listen to. So there's The Office podcast done by a couple of the actors from The Office. And I didn't really realise this, but they only used the script from the UK version for episode 1.
Right.
And the rest of it. Off they went. It was all different. It hadn't really occurred to me that. But it is only episode 1 that's the same. The rest are all different. So, it's very, very, very good. All right.
Right, so.
let's go, shall we?
Yeah, let's do that.
Say goodbye, Captain.
Goodbye, Captain.
Happy birthday. And I'll see you next year or sooner. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right, folks. Thank you for listening. Get in touch with anything you want to say to us, and we'll be happy to give you a shout out if you want. Yeah. If you're listening to any music or watched any films or TV shows, if you want to write us a little review, or better still, record something just into your phone, a couple of minutes. Yeah, please do. We'll put you on. That'd be great. Cool. So yeah. All right. Say goodbye, Captain.
I said that.
Did you? Okay. Sorry. It's been a long day. All right. See you later, folks. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to Only a Podcast. If you would like to get in touch and share your feedback and ideas, we'd love to hear from you. Go to onlyapodcast.com, or you can find us at Only a Podcast on Twitter and Instagram, or via our Facebook page. Remember, it's only a podcast.